One day, the Bible teaches that you and I are going to inherit a glorified or resurrected body. But what exactly will we be able to do with this body? What will this body be like? And how will that body be different from the body that we have right now? Well, you might be surprised to know that the Bible actually has a lot to say about what type of glorified body we're going to have throughout all eternity, and we're going to explore that in this video coming up. Hey, my friend, welcome back to another video inside of our series, Church Gone Wild, a modern day look at the wildest church ever. And hey, if you've missed any videos in this series, there is a link in the description where you can watch the entire playlist. And today is kind of a sad day, y'all, because this series is finally coming to a close. This is the final video that we're going to do in this series, and I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed it. And what a better way to end by talking about the types of bodies that we are going to inherit one day for all eternity. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Bible does say a little bit more than we might think about the type of bodies we're going to have. And let's just start off with a general verse. 1 John 3, verse 2, it says, "Dear friends, we are already God's children, but he has not yet shown us what we will be like when Christ appears. But we do know that we will be like him, for we will see him as he really is." So even though the Bible doesn't give a ton of detail about these glorified bodies, we do know that whatever body we have then is going to be similar to the type of body that Jesus had after he rose from the dead. So I want to give you 7 things that I believe will characterize our glorified bodies. Number 1, you and I will actually have an actual body. All right. Notice what it says here. Look at my hands. Look at my feet, Jesus says. You can see that it's really me. Touch me and make sure that I am not a ghost, because ghosts don't have bodies, as you see that I do. As he spoke, he showed them his hands and his feet. So this idea that we're going to be in heaven and we're going to be like a soul where we can't hug each other, we're just going to hug right through, we're going to float around like angels. No. The Bible says that you and I are going to have an actual body, like a recognizable body. When Jesus rose from the dead, they were able to recognize him because he looked very similar to how he looked before he was crucified. So first and foremost, we are going to have a body, and the body is going to be our body. It's not going to be a new body. It's going to be our bodies that we have right now. The second thing that we see is that our bodies will be imperishable. And this is where we come to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. For our dying bodies must be transformed into bodies that will never die. Our mortal bodies must be transformed into immortal bodies. Use your imagination. Imagine having a body that is not susceptible to decay or aging or anything like that, because it's not perishable. It's fit for all eternity. So Mr. Osteen, with all due respect, you've got it wrong, because you cannot live your best life here now, because our best life is yet to come. And that is a life where we're going to have a body that is not susceptible to any sort of decay or aging or pain. And that leads me to this next point. You will have a powerful body. It says here, our bodies that we have now will be sown in dishonor, but they will be raised in glory. It will be sown in weakness, raised in power. So I don't really know exactly what type of power is being referred to here, but Paul makes it very clear that whatever bodies that we have, whatever glorified body that we inherit, it's going to be a body that is endowed with power, some sort of power that we don't have available to us right now. Now, this was just one that I just had to throw in there because, if I'm being honest, I just got back from eating some barbecue. All right. So you will be able to enjoy food. All right. Now, notice that Jesus himself ate after being resurrected. Now, I'm just throwing this out there using my sanctified imagination. But notice it says here, still they stood there in disbelief, filled with joy and wonder. Then he asked them, "Do you have anything here to eat?" Jesus asked. They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he ate it as they watched. So if Jesus was enjoying a meal after his resurrection, that means that his body was capable of eating and enjoying food. And if I could just imagine, it would be great in heaven and throughout all eternity on the new heaven and new earth if we are able to enjoy. Just imagine the food, the best meal that you may have ever had, a collection of all your best meals that you've ever had, some of the best beef, some of the best pizza, some of the best barbecue, some of the best whatever, right? And you're enjoying this and your body is able to enjoy this food as it was intended throughout all eternity. Wouldn't that be a cool aspect of our glorified body? But number 5, and this is probably one of my favorite ones, you will have a body devoid of pain. It says here in Revelation 21, he will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. No more back pain, no more joint pain, no more pain from cancer, no more emotional pain where you're worried about things that are going on in people's lives and you're crying and you have tears because you've just lost a loved one, or you've gone through the pain of a divorce, or your children are in pain, or you're just stressed and you're dealing with anxiety and worry and doubt and depression. He says all those things will be gone forever. Why? Because we are going to have a body that is not capable of experiencing pain in any way. Number 6, I believe that we are going to have a supernatural body. Now, where do I get that from? Well, there's a couple times in the Gospels after Jesus rose from the dead that he did some pretty cool things with his body. Notice it says here in John chapter 20, that Sunday evening, the disciples were meeting behind locked doors because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders. Suddenly, Jesus just stood there among them. He just rolled up there. All right. And he said, yo, peace be with you. Right. Like, here these guys are, they're afraid, they're hiding in a room. And all of a sudden, Jesus just pops in behind locked doors and somehow just went straight through the door with his new glorified body in their presence. Like, yo, peace, what's up? Right. But that's not the only time it happened. A few verses later, 8 days later, the disciples were together again. And this time Thomas was with them. The doors were locked. But suddenly, as before, Jesus was standing there among them. Yo, peace be with you, right? Like, could you just imagine having a body that you can transport from one place to the other? You're not limited by time and space and gravity, that you could literally transport yourself from one point of the earth to another point of the new earth, right? Like, I don't know, I'm just using my imagination, but that would be cool. And there seems to be some sort of supernatural element to our glorified bodies that we obviously don't have now. But here's the 7th and final thing that I think is going to characterize our glorified bodies, that we will be able to have divine knowledge. Notice what it says here in 1 Corinthians 13. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. Wow. Did you get that? That you and I one day will have complete and total knowledge. It says here that we will know everything completely, just as God now knows everything about me. Could you imagine being in heaven and being able to ask every question that you could ever have asked or ever wondered while you're here? And now you're in the very presence of God the Father and God the Son throughout all eternity and all the saints who have gone before you. And you can ask all your questions from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to Ruth to Esther to King David to Solomon to your grandmama, big mama, all of them going to be up there. And you can just spend eternity getting to know all these saints and having a praise party, worshiping God in heaven. It's going to be an amazing time with our glorified bodies. And hey, just in case you think it's going to be very, very boring in heaven and all we're going to be doing is standing around the throne, singing hymns all day long, I've got another video on my channel where I talk about some surprising things that we're going to do in heaven that a lot of people don't even think about and don't even realize. So if you want to know what heaven is going to be like for all eternity, new heaven and new earth, check out this video on the screen. I'm going to put a link also in the description box below. I'll see you in the next video, which is not going to be Church Gone Wild series. I'll see you then. Bye for now.